Stop being so available. The Dark Art of Manufactured Scarcity. Introduction. The Economics of the Self. Think about the cheapest, most worthless items in your daily life. The air you breathe, the dirt on the sidewalk, the tap water running down the drain. Why are these things considered practically worthless in a financial sense? It is not because they lack utility. Without air or water, you would die in a matter of minutes. They possess the highest possible biological utility. Yet you pay nothing for them. You do not revere them. You do not place them in a vault or insure them for millions of dollars. Why? Because they are infinite. They are instantly accessible. They are everywhere, all the time, available at a moment's notice. Now, think about a flawless 10-carat diamond. Think about a painting by Leonardo da Vinci. Think about an invitation to an exclusive, invite-only gala. These things have virtually zero biological utility. You cannot eat a diamond. A painting will not keep you warm. Yet human beings will murder, betray, bankrupt themselves, and go to war to possess them. Why? Because they are rare, because access to them is restricted, because they are the physical manifestation of scarcity. This is the most fundamental, unbreakable law of economics, the law of supply and demand. When supply is infinite, value drops to zero. When supply is violently restricted, value skyrockets to infinity. This law does not only apply to diamonds, real estate, and currency. It applies ruthlessly, subconsciously, and absolutely to human beings. It applies to you. Welcome to the dark art of manufactured scarcity. Look at your current social and professional life. Are you the tap water, or are you the diamond? If you answer text messages within 30 seconds, if you say yes to every project your boss hands you, if you are always available for a drink, always ready to listen to a complaining friend, always bending your schedule to accommodate the whims of others, you are signaling to the world that your supply is infinite. And because your supply is infinite, the world has subconsciously priced your value at zero. They do not respect your time because you do not protect your time. They do not revere your presence because your presence is guaranteed. You have made the fatal mistake of believing that extreme availability makes you indispensable, loyal, and loved. In reality, extreme availability makes you cheap. It makes you taken for granted. It makes you a commodity. In this exhaustive, uncompromising masterclass, we are going to violently dismantle the availability trap. We are going to explore the dark evolutionary psychology of why human beings are biologically programmed to desire what they cannot easily have and to despise what is freely given. You will learn the mathematics of access, how to calculate your personal supply and choke it off. You will learn the tactic of the phantom retreat, a method used by elite negotiators and seducers to induce panic and desire in their targets. You will discover the asynchronous mandate, the art of weaponizing silence, and the profound difference between being busy and being scarce. If you are terrified of people being momentarily annoyed with you, if your entire identity is built on being the reliable yes man or the constant caregiver, if you are addicted to the cheap validation of being needed, turn this audio off right now. Go back to being the tap water. But if you are ready to reclaim your autonomy, if you are ready to become the most sought-after, highly respected, and untouchable force in your industry and your social circle, if you are ready to turn your presence into a premium, luxury asset, then listen closely. It is time to close the gates. It is time to stop being so available. Chapter 1. The Biology of Desire and the Scarcity Heuristic. To master the art of scarcity, we must first understand why it works with such terrifying, predictable efficiency. We must look under the hood of the human brain. Why do we want things that are hard to get? It is not a cultural construct. It is an evolutionary survival mechanism hardwired into your neurochemistry. Imagine our ancestors living on the African savanna tens of thousands of years ago. Survival was a daily, brutal calculation of caloric energy. If a food source was abundant, like leaves or common berries, the brain did not need to release massive amounts of motivation chemicals to secure it. It was always there. But what happened when a highly valuable, rare resource appeared? A honeycomb high in a dangerous tree, a rare animal tracks, a source of fresh water in a drought. When the brain encountered something rare and valuable, it had to trigger a massive, overwhelming behavioral response to ensure the human acted quickly to secure the resource before it disappeared or was taken by a competitor. The brain achieved this by dumping a massive dose of dopamine into the nervous system. As we discussed in previous masterclasses, dopamine is not the chemical of pleasure. It is the molecule of craving, anticipation, and relentless pursuit. Dopamine narrows your focus on the scarce object, shutting out all other distractions, and compels you to expend massive amounts of energy to acquire it. The scarcity's heuristic. Fast forward to the modern era, we no longer hunt for rare honeycombs, but our brains are running the exact same software. Psychologists call this the scarcity heuristic. A heuristic is a mental shortcut. Because the modern world is overwhelmingly complex, the brain uses shortcuts to quickly determine the value of things. The scarcity heuristic is the brain's shortcut that states, if something is difficult to obtain, it must be highly valuable. If something is easy to obtain, it must be of low quality. This heuristic bypasses logic entirely. It is a biological reflex. This is why limited time offers and only 2 items left in stock warnings on e-commerce websites drive people into a buying frenzy. The logical brain knows it's a marketing trick, but the primal brain sees the restricted supply, the amygdala panics, the dopamine spikes, and the credit card is swiped. The law applied to human beings. Now, apply this biological heuristic to your social and professional interactions. When you are always available, when you answer the phone on the first ring every single time, when you agree to every meeting, you are triggering the brain's abundance heuristic in the people around you. You are signaling, I am common berries, I am tap water. Because they know you are always there, their brain literally does not release dopamine when they think about you. There is no anticipation, there is no thrill of the chase, there is no fear of loss. You become neurologically boring to them. You become the human equivalent of a participation trophy. Conversely, look at the highly charismatic, elite individuals in your life. The mentor whose time is fiercely guarded, the CEO who is booked months in advance, the attractive person who doesn't immediately text back. When you finally secure 10 minutes of their time, how does your body react? Your heart rate elevates slightly. You feel a sense of privilege. You pay intense attention to every word they say. Your brain is flooded with dopamine because you have secured a scarce resource. Their physical biology is exactly the same as yours. They have 24 hours in a day, just like you. The only difference is the perception of access. They have triggered your scarcity heuristic. They have made you believe that their presence is a diamond. To become powerful, you must learn how to trigger this exact neurochemical response in the minds of everyone you meet. You must become the restricted resource. Chapter 2. The Yes Epidemic and the Illusion of Indispensability.
Before you can effectively manufacture scarcity, you must confront the psychological disease that makes you so readily available in the first place. Why do you say yes to everything? Why are you terrified of ignoring a text message? Why do you take on extra work that you are not paid for? It is rarely because you genuinely want to do these things. It is usually driven by a deeply toxic combination of the disease to please and the illusion of indispensability. The disease to please. For many people, their entire sense of self-worth is tethered to external validation. They have been conditioned since childhood to believe that being good means being compliant, accommodating, and self-sacrificing. They say yes because they are terrified of conflict. They are terrified that if they say no, the other person will be angry, will reject them, or will stop liking them. They use their availability as a bribe to purchase affection. But this is a catastrophic miscalculation of human psychology. When you are always available, people do not love you more. They may use you more, but they respect you less. Respect is a vertical emotion. It looks upward. Affection is horizontal. You can have affection for a golden retriever because it is always happy to see you and always available for a pet, but you do not respect the golden retriever. When you are always available, people treat you like the golden retriever. They like having you around for convenience, but they will never promote you to the corner office, and they will never view you as an equal partner. You have traded respect for cheap, fleeting affection. The illusion of indispensability. The second driver of extreme availability is the ego-driven illusion of indispensability. This is the disease of the modern corporate worker. You answer emails at 11 p.m. on a Saturday. You take your laptop on vacation. You volunteer to lead the committee that nobody else wants to lead. You tell yourself, I have to do this. The company will fall apart if I don't. My boss needs me. I am the only one who can handle this crisis. This is the ultimate lie of the ego. You are not indispensable. If you drop dead of a stress-induced heart attack tomorrow at 2 p.m., your company will post a job listing for your position before your body is cold. They will send flowers to your funeral, and by next Wednesday, someone else will be sitting at your desk answering your emails. You are making yourself available not because the world actually needs you, but because you desperately need to feel needed. You are addicted to the stress. You are addicted to the feeling of being the hero who puts out the fires. But the hero who puts out every fire never gets to build the castle. The people who reach the absolute pinnacle of power and wealth, the sovereigns, the titans, the true elite, are not the ones running around putting out fires at midnight. They are the ones who have built systems, delegated the fires to subordinates, and completely insulated their time from the daily chaos. They understand that their ultimate value lies in their capacity for deep, uninterrupted, high-level thought. And you cannot think deeply when you are constantly available to everyone's trivial emergencies. You must execute a brutal ego death. You must accept that the world will spin perfectly fine without your instant reply. You must stop using your availability as a crutch for your self-esteem.
Chapter 3. The Mathematics of Access. Calculating your supply. If you are going to choke the supply of your presence, you must first understand the mathematics of access. Scarcity is not about acting like an arrogant jerk. It is not about completely ignoring people or being randomly cruel. If you simply stop answering your boss's emails entirely, you won't become a luxury asset. You will become unemployed. Manufactured scarcity is a highly calculated, strategic calibration of your accessibility based on the tier of the relationship and the value of the interaction. To master this, you must construct a mental fortress with strict concentric walls. Tier 3, the outer perimeter.
the infinite noise. The outer perimeter consists of the general public, distant acquaintances, low-level clients, social media followers, and cold emailers. This is the realm of infinite noise. The access rule: absolute scarcity. You owe the outer perimeter absolutely nothing. Your default setting for this tier is unavailable. You do not answer unknown numbers. You do not reply to every comment. You do not agree to pick your brain over coffee with strangers. If you give your time to the outer perimeter, you are leaking precious life force into the void. You must establish massive friction here. Use automated email replies stating that you only check email once a week. Route calls to an assistant or a voicemail that clearly states your slow response time. Make it physically and procedurally difficult for the outer perimeter to breach your walls. Tier 2, the inner courtyard, the operational reality. The inner courtyard consists of your daily colleagues, your manager, your active clients, and your regular social circle. This is where most of your operational life happens. The access rule: predictable, asynchronous scarcity. This is where the amateur fails. The amateur allows the inner courtyard infinite real-time access. They leave Slack open. They answer emails within 5 minutes. They answer texts during dinner. You must enforce the asynchronous mandate. You must retrain the inner courtyard to understand that you do not operate in real time. You are a deep worker. You are a sovereign. You establish strict service-level agreements for your presence. I check my operational messages at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. I will respond to non-emergencies during those windows. At first, they will panic. They will complain. They are addicted to your instant gratification. You must hold the line. Let them feel the friction. Let the non-urgent problems resolve themselves in your absence. Within 2 weeks, a miracle will occur. They will adapt to your clock. They will stop bothering you with trivialities because they know they won't get the instant dopamine hit of a reply. When you do finally respond at 4 p.m., your response will carry 10 times the weight because they had to wait for it. You have artificially restricted the supply of your operational attention. Tier 1, the inner sanctum, the high-value core. The inner sanctum consists of your spouse, your children, your absolute closest lifelong friends, and the most critical high-level mentors or business partners in your empire. The access rule: absolute, undivided presence when granted. This is the vital counterbalance to scarcity. If you are scarce to everyone all the time, you are simply a recluse. When you do grant access to the inner sanctum, your presence must be absolute. The phone is in another room. Your eye contact is unbroken. Your warmth is undeniable. Because you have starved the outer perimeter and strictly regulated the inner courtyard, you have conserved massive amounts of psychological energy. You can now pour that energy entirely into Tier 1. The contrast is what creates the power. To the world, you are an untouchable, fiercely guarded fortress. But to the few who hold the keys to the inner sanctum, you are completely present. This makes your presence feel like an incredible, hard-won privilege. Practice application 1. The 24-hour communication audit. Tomorrow, you will execute a ruthless audit of your availability. Track every single communication you send for 24 hours, every text, every email, every Slack message. Next to each message, write down the response time, how long it took you to reply after receiving it. If your average response time to Tier 2 and Tier 3 communications is less than 2 hours, you are bleeding value. You are broadcasting desperation. Starting the following day, you will implement the artificial delay. For every non-emergency message you receive, you are forbidden from replying for a minimum of 90 minutes. Force yourself to let the message sit in your inbox. Feel the anxiety of not replying. Tolerate the void. You are training your nervous system to be comfortable with withholding your presence.
Chapter 4. The Phantom Retreat. Weaponizing Absence. We have covered the baseline structure of availability. Now we move into the advanced, highly aggressive tactics of manufactured scarcity. We must master the phantom retreat. The phantom retreat is a psychological weapon used heavily in high-stakes negotiations, elite seduction, and power dynamics. It relies on a principle of behavioral economics known as loss aversion. Psychological studies have proven that human beings feel the pain of losing something twice as intensely as they feel the pleasure of gaining it. If you give someone $100, they are happy. If you take $100 away from them, they are devastated. You must apply loss aversion to your presence. If you are consistently, predictably available, people take you for granted. But if you are highly present, intensely engaged, and then suddenly, inexplicably, you withdraw your presence entirely, you trigger a massive psychological panic in the target. The mechanics of the retreat. Let us look at a professional scenario. You are a highly skilled consultant negotiating a contract with a demanding, arrogant client. For the first 2 meetings, you are brilliant, you are engaged, you deliver massive value. You make them feel like your only priority. You build the connection. Then the client starts playing games. They lowball your fee. They disrespect your boundaries. They assume because you are so engaged, you are desperate for the deal. The amateur move. The amateur gets angry, argues, or desperately tries to prove their value again, lowering their price to save the deal. They increase their availability to compensate. The phantom retreat. You do not get angry. You do not argue. You simply execute the phantom retreat. You go completely cold. You stop initiating contact. When they email you, you take 48 hours to reply with a short, polite, completely detached, one-sentence answer. You become a ghost. Client email. We really need to finalize these numbers. Why haven't you sent the revised proposal? Your reply, 48 hours later. I am currently focused on a priority launch for another client. I will review your counteroffer next Tuesday. The psychological devastation. Look at the emotional explosion you just caused in their mind. They thought they owned the frame. They thought you were desperate. By suddenly removing your presence and introducing the existence of a priority client, you have violently triggered their scarcity heuristic and their loss aversion simultaneously. Their brain panics. Wait, I thought we had them. Why are they pulling away? Are they more valuable than we thought? Are we going to lose this asset to a competitor? The sudden absence of your warm, engaged presence feels like a physical loss. To alleviate the pain of that loss and secure the scarce resource, their brain will compel them to chase you. They will suddenly become much more accommodating. They will find the extra budget. They will negotiate against themselves to bring you back to the table. The phantom retreat proves you are not dependent on their validation. It proves your presence is a privilege that can be revoked the absolute second you are disrespected. The romantic retreat. This exact same dark psychology applies to dating and relationships. If you are dating someone and they start pulling away, acting flaky, or taking hours to text you back, their scarcity heuristic is testing your value. If you double text them, ask what's wrong, or try to plan more dates, you fail the test. You prove you are abundant and desperate. You must execute the phantom retreat. You match their withdrawal, and then you exceed it.
If they take 4 hours to reply, you take 12. If they are flaky, you become completely unavailable for the next 2 weeks because your schedule is packed. You completely remove the safety net of your presence. You let them feel the cold void of your absence. If they have any genuine interest in you, the phantom retreat will trigger their pursuit mechanism. If they don't pursue, they never valued you anyway, and you have successfully filtered out a waste of your time. You win either way. Practice application 2. The read receipt assassination. In the digital age, tech companies have built tools designed specifically to destroy your ability to manufacture scarcity. The most toxic of these tools is the read receipt. Read receipts and the typing bubbles are designed to induce social anxiety and force you into instant compliance. When someone sees you have read their message, the social pressure to reply instantly is immense. You must assassinate the read receipt. Go into the settings of your phone, your WhatsApp, your Instagram, and your LinkedIn right now. Turn off all read receipts. Turn off your active status. You must become digitally invisible. The sender should have absolutely zero data on when you are online, when you have seen their message, or what you are doing. You operate entirely in the shadows, responding only when it suits your strategic timeline. Reclaim your digital sovereignty.
Chapter 5. The Contrast Principle. The Art of the Microdose. If you execute manufactured scarcity perfectly, you become a highly sought-after, mysterious, and powerful figure. But there is a danger. If you are always absent, always cold, and always restricted, you cross the line from valuable into irrelevant. People will eventually stop trying to breach your walls and simply move on. Scarcity only holds power when it is sharply contrasted with moments of intense, high-value connection. This is the psychological law of the contrast principle. A flashlight is unnoticeable in the blazing midday sun, but strike a single match in a pitch-black cave and it is blinding. Because you have made your general availability incredibly dark and scarce, when you do decide to give someone your time, you must deliver a blinding burst of high-value light. You must master the art of the microdose. The high-value microdose. The amateur believes that giving value means giving massive amounts of time. They will sit on a Zoom call for 2 hours, rambling, brainstorming, and letting the conversation bleed out until everyone is exhausted. The sovereign of scarcity gives value in devastatingly potent, short, restricted bursts. Imagine you are a mentor or a senior executive, and a junior employee requests a meeting to discuss their career. The amateur move. You agree to a 1-hour coffee meeting. You sit there, letting them ramble, offering generic advice. By minute 45, you're checking your watch. The interaction is bloated and low value. The microdose move. You reply asynchronously 24 hours later. My schedule is intensely locked this month. However, your recent work on the Alpha project was exceptional. I can give you exactly 15 minutes on Thursday at 8:15 a.m. Bring your 3 biggest roadblocks and we will dismantle them. Look at the psychological architecture of this setup. You established massive scarcity. My schedule is intensely locked. You validated them. Your recent work was exceptional, triggering a dopamine hit. You ruthlessly restricted the time, exactly 15 minutes. You demanded preparation, establishing your high status. When Thursday at 8:15 a.m. arrives, you execute the microdose.
For those exact 15 minutes, you are terrifyingly present. Your phone is away. Your eye contact is intense. You listen deeply. You offer piercing, high-level strategic advice, and you make them feel like the most important person in the world. And at exactly 8:30 a.m., you stand up. We are out of time. Execute on those 3 directives. Excellent work. And you leave. The echo effect. The psychological impact of the microdose is profound. Because the interaction was so short, so intense, and so high value, the junior employee will be left buzzing with adrenaline. They will analyze every word you said. They will desperately crave another 15 minutes with you. You have created the echo effect. Your presence lingers in their mind far longer than if you had sat with them for 2 hours. You left them hungry. In the entertainment industry, they have a saying, always leave them wanting more. This is the absolute law of manufactured scarcity. You must never overstay your welcome. You must never be the last person to leave the party. You must never be the one dragging out the phone call. You deliver the value, you spike their dopamine, and then you vanish back into the fortress of scarcity, letting your absence echo in their minds. Practice Application 3, the Hard Stop Protocol. You must train yourself to execute the exit. For every single meeting, phone call, or social interaction you schedule this week, you must establish a hard stop before the interaction even begins. If someone asks for a call, say, "I have a hard stop at 2:30 p.m., so let's be efficient." When 2:30 p.m. arrives, you are forbidden from extending the call, even if the conversation is fascinating, even if they are mid-sentence. You must interrupt them politely but firmly. "This has been a brilliant conversation, but I have hit my hard stop. We will have to pick this up later. Goodbye." Hang up the phone. Walk out the door. By aggressively enforcing your own boundaries and ending the interaction at its peak, you prove that your time is an unyielding, non-negotiable asset. You train the world to respect your clock.
Chapter 6. The "I don't need this" frame. The ultimate leverage. We have discussed the tactics, the asynchronous mandate, the phantom retreat, the microdose, and the hard stop. But tactics are merely tools. If you use these tools while secretly, internally desperate for the other person's approval, the tactics will fail. Human beings have an incredibly sophisticated, subconscious radar for desperation. If you execute a phantom retreat, but you are sitting at home staring at your phone, sweating, praying that they call you back, they will sense the incongruence. The scarcity will feel fake. It will feel like a manipulation tactic rather than a genuine reflection of your value. To make manufactured scarcity truly devastating, it cannot be a tactic. It must be an identity. You must adopt the ultimate unshakable psychological frame of the sovereign, the "I don't need this" frame. The death of desperation. In any negotiation, any relationship, and any power dynamic, the person who needs the outcome the least holds 100% of the leverage. If you go into a job interview desperately needing the salary to pay your rent, you will exude anxious, abundant energy. You will agree to a lower salary. You will accept terrible terms. You are the tap wetter. If you go into a date terrified of being alone, desperately wanting this person to like you, you will overinvest, overtext, and tolerate disrespectful behavior. You are the common berry. The master of scarcity walks into the interview, the negotiation, or the date with a completely different internal reality.
They have built a life that is so rich, so deeply fulfilling, and so focused on their own massive mission that the outcome of this specific interaction is entirely irrelevant to their happiness. Their internal monologue is, "I am perfectly content walking out of this room without this deal. I have 3 other options lined up. I do not need this person's validation. If they meet my extreme standards, I will grant them access. If they do not, I will gladly return to my solitude." The paradox of detachment. This is the profound paradox of human desire. We are irresistibly drawn to the things that do not need us. When you embody the "I don't need this" frame, it radically alters your body language. Your shoulders drop, your breathing slows, your vocal pitch lowers. You stop trying to impress people. You stop laughing at jokes that aren't funny. You stop filling the awkward silences. You lean back in your chair. You become deeply, terrifyingly comfortable in the void. This absolute detachment is the most intoxicating, charismatic energy a human being can project. When the client, the boss, or the romantic interest senses that you genuinely do not need them, that you are perfectly willing to execute a permanent phantom retreat without a second thought, their scarcity heuristic goes into overdrive. They realize they are not evaluating you, you are evaluating them. You are the diamond behind the glass case, and they must prove they are worthy of purchasing you. Building the sovereign's vault. You cannot fake the "I don't need this" frame. You have to actually build it. You build it by diversifying your life. You cannot have manufactured scarcity in your career if you have no savings and no other job prospects. You must build an emergency fund, acquire rare, undeniable skills, and constantly network. When you have 6 months of FU money in the bank, the "I don't need this" frame becomes your natural state of being. You cannot have manufactured scarcity in your social life if you have no hobbies, no mission, and no ability to sit alone in a room. You must cultivate a deep, profound relationship with your own solitude. You must have a mission that consumes your focus, a business, a physical pursuit, an artistic endeavor. When your mission is your primary obsession, other people become a secondary luxury. Your scarcity becomes authentic because you genuinely are too busy building your empire to care about their trivial drama. Practice Application 4. The Solitude Audit. To embody the sovereign frame, you must conquer your fear of the void. This weekend, you will execute a 24-hour solitude audit. From Saturday morning to Sunday morning, you will isolate yourself completely. No social plans, no telephone calls, no texting, no social media, no television. You will sit in a room with your own mind. You will read a physical book. You will write your goals. You will exercise. You will face the terrifying, suffocating anxiety of being completely disconnected from the validation of the hive mind. You will face your addiction to availability. Breathe through the panic. Learn to find absolute peace in the silence of your own company. When you realize that you do not die when the world cannot reach you, when you realize that your own internal world is rich enough to sustain you, you will emerge on Sunday morning as a completely different biological entity. You will never desperately need another human being's text message again. You will have built the vault.
Conclusion. The diamond in the vault. You have reached the end of the noise and the beginning of the quiet dominance. We began this journey by exposing the brutal, unbreakable law of economics, supply and demand. We revealed the terrifying truth that your extreme availability is the exact mechanism destroying your value, signaling to the world that you are cheap,
abundant, and easily replaced. You now understand the deep evolutionary biology of the scarcity heuristic. You know that the human brain is hardwired to crave what is restricted and to despise what is freely given. You recognize the disease to please and the illusion of indispensability as the ego traps keeping you enslaved to the whims of others. You possess the architectural blueprint for the mathematics of access. You know how to choke off the outer perimeter, enforce the asynchronous mandate on the inner courtyard, and pour your intense, undivided presence exclusively into the inner sanctum. You have mastered the dark arts of the phantom retreat, weaponizing loss aversion to induce panic and desire in those who disrespect your boundaries. You know the power of the microdose and the absolute necessity of the hard stop, ensuring you always leave them hungry, echoing in their minds. And most importantly, you understand the ultimate, unshakable foundation of the sovereign, the "I don't need this" frame. You know that true scarcity cannot be faked with parlor tricks. It must be forged in the fire of genuine independence, financial security, and a profound comfort with your own solitude. There is an ancient, heavy, and profound truth to human interaction. People will only respect your boundaries to the exact degree that you are willing to enforce them. If you continue to be the tap water, if you continue to bend your life, sacrifice your peace, and drop your mission the moment someone rings the bell, you will live a life of chaotic subservience. You will be liked, you will be used, and you will be utterly forgotten the moment you run dry. But if you have the courage to close the gates, if you have the discipline to let the emails sit, to let the phone ring into the void, to walk away from the table when the terms are insulting, and to ruthlessly guard the vault of your own time, you will become a sovereign. You will trigger the primal, biological awe that human beings reserve only for the truly rare. Taking absolute, ruthless control of your availability is not about being cruel. It is the most fundamental act of self-respect possible in a world designed to distract and consume you. It is standing up, looking at the chaotic, demanding machine of modern society and saying, "My life is too valuable to be an open door. My presence is a luxury, and it must be earned." The world is going to demand your attention. The notifications are going to scream. The pressure to conform, to be the good, available person, will be immense. The next time your phone lights up with a non-emergency, the next time you feel that familiar, anxious urge to drop your deep work and immediately reply, the next time someone asks for an hour of your time they have not earned, freeze. Anchor your feet to the floor. Take a breath. Feel the addictive pull of validation. Recognize the trap. Put the phone face down. Turn back to your mission and let them wait in the silence. The world belongs to those who are willing to be absent. Now, go and close the vault. Thank you for reclaiming your value with quick audiobooks. If this masterclass has shattered your need for validation, destroyed your availability trap, and given you the keys to your own sovereignty, ensure you subscribe, like, and return for more uncompromising, relentless deep dives into psychology, power, and the pursuit of absolute freedom. Until next time, stay scarce, stay sovereign, and stay dangerous.